And on today's unbiased hard take, me and JB will be doing short takes this week, so if you have not already done so, go check out JB's short take on Week 12 NFL Pick'em. The DoorDash competition is tightening up. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But before we get into all that, we'll get all the formalities out of the way. If you haven't already done so, please go like on Facebook and follow on Spotify. Links to all of that stuff will be in the description down below. Check out the Sports Fact Today on Facebook. A lot of good knowledge. We got a lot of good stuff going on. Also, if you have not already done so, go check out our Fantasy Football Unbiased Hard Take League. That's heating up also. That is on our Facebook page. You can keep track on weekly score updates and playoff standings with me and JB. So go check out that as well. That's heating up. We got a lot, and the winner will get a free t-shirt. So we got a lot of big things coming for the Unbiased. Last week, me and JB did that live stream on Monday Night Football, and that was honestly probably the most fun I've had on this podcast in a long time. So a lot of good things coming. But getting into the DoorDash Season 2, I can't believe it's already been 2 years doing this with you guys. NFL Week Pick'em. So me and JB have a competition, and I ain't gonna lie, JB had a little bit better of a week. He got me on a game last week. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. And currently, your boy me, Chandler, here is 111 and 55 for the DoorDash Pick'em, 111 and 55, and JB 106 and 60. So only a 5-game lead by me, and me and JB have predicted near 200 games. We both broke 100. This DoorDash competition's heating up. We got 5 more weeks of it. It's going fast. So I'm gonna jump right into it. NFL Week 12 action. We have a really good Thursday night game, a good rivalry game, where the Pittsburgh Steelers will travel to the Dog Pound to play the Cleveland Browns. And I have some stats here. The Steelers, I picked Baltimore. I'll get into them in a little bit. To win that game, I have them winning the division. I had Pittsburgh as a wild card team, replacing Miami. And me and JB's predictions for the playoffs. And that was my one change. Just putting Pittsburgh in there that were allowed. And, I was wrong to pick Baltimore because Baltimore and Lamar Jackson seems to pee his pants whenever he plays Pittsburgh or Kansas City. It's absolutely baffling to me the fact that Pittsburgh didn't score a single touchdown. They scored 6 field goals, and the reigning MVP, who's supposed to be an MVP candidate this year, he should have been the MVP last year. It should have been Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, but God forbid it goes to a non-quarterback. But that's a different conversation we've already had, and a different conversation for a different day. But what Pittsburgh's been doing, they're probably going to win this division. And I'm going to take Pittsburgh to beat Cleveland here because Cleveland put an absolute dud out there against the Saints. They allowed 35 points to a bad Saints team. Winston looked a lot better, 395 and 2 touchdowns, but that Browns defense is just absolutely abysmal. They allowed 473 total yards, guys. 214 rushing yards, 8.2 yards a play. And it ain't no wonder that the Browns lost this football game, allowing dang near 500 yards and 250 yards rushing dang near. So it ain't no wonder that they lost this game, and I expect Pittsburgh to hammer down on a very struggling Cleveland team here. That's 2-8. Cleveland is just, understand Nick Chubb's back, but 50 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. Look, ever since Nick Chubb's come back, really, in my opinion, he hasn't really looked like the same player. His season long so far is 52 yards. He has 1 touchdown. 3.1 yards a carry. I love Nick Chubb. I think he was one of the best running backs in the league. Hopefully he still is, and he can get his groove back. But yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh here. Then moving on to Kansas City at Carolina. And I know I've made a lot of jokes of Kansas City going defeated for the end of time. But that Dolphins team from back in the 70s can finally, I like to say this, it's a good tradition, can pop their champagne and celebrate down in Florida because there will be no undefeated champion this year. The last team has finally lost, the Chiefs losing to the Bills last week. And I'm going to pick Kansas City dang near every game, especially this one, Carolina. Kansas City's coming off of a bad loss to Buffalo. They're probably pissed off about that loss, in my opinion. And they get to go to Carolina now and beat up on a really crappy football team and kind of get their confidence and their mojo back. So I expect this to be a slaughter fest. Kansas City's going to come out there and just thump them. This isn't even the same stratosphere. It's literally the king of the hill versus the worst possible opponent in the league. And yeah, Kansas City's going to win this game by at least 30. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, the only thing about Kansas City is Buffalo can't beat them in the playoffs. I'm not impressed with Buffalo until they beat them in the playoffs. I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, give me Kansas City in a game that's really a give me. This is a good bounce back win for them, I think. Then moving on to NFC North showdown, the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. I don't have an actual statistic on this right now in front of me, but I mean, my God, guys. For the Bears, and I am not a Bears guy. Everyone knows I absolutely hate the Bears. Their misery is absolutely hilarious. 11 straight losses to the Packers. We own them. We are literally daddy. Green Bay is daddy. Chicago is literally baby. So, but I'm going to pick Minnesota to win this game. Minnesota's a wild card team. 8-win team, guys. 1 win behind Detroit. Green Bay, they're actually 1 win ahead of Green Bay. 1.5 in my opinion, because they've already beat us. So Minnesota, they're going to be a playoff team this year, I think. NFC North could have very well 3 playoff teams this season. So give me Minnesota. Chicago, I'll get into them. So, honestly, all the jokes aside, if you want to see me laughing at Chicago, go check out my short take on that. Again, link to everything is in the description down below. So, the thing about Chicago is, okay, do they want to really be able to fix this? Here's what it is. I've already seen a lot of people on the internet, a lot of Bears fans. I follow all teams. I keep track of all fan bases. I keep informed with the league and what a lot of fan bases are thinking. And what I've seen a lot from the Bears fan base recently is they ought to fire Eberflus. And absolutely not. The first time something goes wrong, you cannot fire your coach. You've already made Caleb Williams go through 1 offensive coordinator. Don't make him start with a 2nd head coach in his first season, guys. That's why every quarterback you have fail. It's not because they're bad. Look what Justin Fields has done in Pittsburgh. He should still be the starter, in my opinion. I mean, JB feel different about that, but Fields should still be the starter. I'll kind of flip the script on him a little bit. I was impressed, undefeated with, at one point with Justin Fields. So, Chicago needs to be patient and develop. It's okay to be patient. Just because something goes wrong doesn't mean you need to fire the coach. And what I was getting into with the stat is, this could be a very different Chicago team if we're talking about a block kick and a Hail Mary. They have to be the only team. This is the stat I was talking about. I don't know this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But they have to be the only team in NFL history to lose off a Hail Mary and a walk-away blocked field goal to lose in the same season. That's just really bad luck. It's funny, it's hilarious, but they need to be patient if they want to actually become contenders in the future. They're not going to do anything this year. Their schedule right now is brutal moving forward. I'd be surprised if they win 1 or 2 more games. So they need to really, really just work on getting better as a football team and working on those detailed things. So yeah, give me Minnesota in this game. Chicago just needs to be patient and develop. And not fire people like the Jets do every 10 seconds. Those are the organizations that fail. Patience is key. Then moving on to an AFC South matchup, the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. And Houston, I mean, Nico Collins is back. Yeah, I understand Stephon Diggs is injured, but I mean, thank goodness for Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon, 3 touchdowns, guys. 3 touchdowns, and he had an absolutely outstanding game on Monday Night Football in the Battle of Texas last night against the Cowboys. And Houston, I said they'd be fine once they got Nico Collins back, get some more weapons back. They have Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud. They're my pick to win the Super Bowl. I'm not backing down from that. I do worry about their offensive line, though, because they cannot block CJ Stroud worth of crap. And that needs to get fixed if they're going to make a Super Bowl run. But I'm picking Houston here. They're going to run away with that division, as I predicted, and it's still my Super Bowl pick. So give me Houston against just a bad Tennessee team, really. Then moving on to the Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts. And while I'm going to be rooting for the Colts, I mean, there's really no question about that. I mean, I think the Lions are going to go to Indiana and win this game really pretty easily. I mean, what Detroit's been doing to the entire league, they thrashed Green Bay. I know it's Jacksonville, but they thrashed a good Jacksonville roster on paper. 52-6. Wow. Jared Goff, 4 touchdowns. They have Montgomery, and they have Gibbs at running back, both balling. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jameson Williams is playing great ball. Detroit's my pick to lose the Super Bowl and go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, and it's looking like a good pick right now because they're steamrolling everybody. And I can't believe I'm saying that. So yeah, give me Detroit. I'll be rooting for the Colts. And the Colts did look a lot better, but I mean, they barely beat the Jets, guys. Anthony Richardson did look a lot better. He looked a little more poised. He made more accurate passes this past game. Excuse me, but Detroit's on a different stratosphere, especially against the Colts. So give me Detroit. Then moving on to New England at Miami. And with this game, I'm taking Miami. I kind of bailed on them, but Tua's back now. And I understand their record's probably not going to be good enough to make a playoff push. But considering what they did, excuse me, this past weekend against the Raiders, 34 points. I understand it's against the Raiders, but Tua looked like his old self. 3 touchdowns. A-Chain looked good again, 73 and a touchdown. Tyreek Tyreek got his juju back a little bit, and Smith, 2 touchdowns, 101 total yards. So that Miami offense looks a lot better, which does not boast well for Green Bay on Thanksgiving. But that's a different conversation for a different day. But Miami 4-6. I think they're going to win this game. It's in Miami, it's in Florida against a bad New England team that's kind of young and lacking a lot of talent on offense, in my opinion. So, yeah, give me Miami here. Then moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants. And the Giants have pretty much given up on the season. They're going to start Tommy DeVito. Tampa Bay is injured a little bit, but I am happy with the fact that they are coming off of a bye week, as are the Giants. But like I said, the Giants are starting Tommy DeVito. So yeah, with that being said, I trust Baker Mayfield, even with a depleted receiving core, much more than I do a Saquon Barkley-less, Tommy DeVito-led Giants offense. So yeah, enough said there. Give me Tampa Bay. Then, the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders. Such a stupid name for a football team. But, I'm taking the Commanders here. The Commanders they were winning their division at one point, the 2 seed, but they are now fallen to a lower-end wild card spot currently. There might be a year away, honestly, but I'm going to take Washington here. Dallas is just bad. Probably the worst running back room in the league. On top of the fact that Dak Prescott's injured now. You're starting Cooper Rush out there. It's hard to get CD the ball with Cooper Rush at quarterback right now. So Washington. I'm going to take command here. I'm taking Washington here. Then moving on to the Denver Broncos versus the Vegas Raiders, and I picked Denver. See, every time I pick Denver, I get it wrong because I picked them 2 weeks ago to pull off the upset, and that did not work in my favor at all. And then last week I picked Atlanta to beat Denver, and that was an even worse pick. So it's like whatever I pick on this will be wrong, but I'm picking Denver here. I said Bo Nix is the best quarterback in this draft class, and he's catching up a little bit for that offensive rookie of the year on Jaden Daniels. If you look at their numbers, they're awfully similar, and Denver's in the playoff picture right now, currently too, guys. We can't forget that. So, Sean Payton has Bo Nix playing outstanding, and I'm a firm believer on the more reps you get in college, the better it'll help you in the pros. And Bo Nix is the prime example of that at Oregon. So, yeah, I'm taking Denver here. I think Bo Nix, like I said, the best quarterback in that draft class. And that defense is playing ferocious, especially against a Raiders team that's 2-8, with Gardner Minshew throwing at least an interception every game. So yeah, give me Denver here. Then my favorite time of the week, the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. And I'm going to take San Francisco ultimately. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not taking San Francisco. I'm taking Green Bay to win this football game. And I understand Green Bay did not have the best football game when they played. They did not play a very good football game at all against the Bears. Probably are kind of one of those wins, that you walk away with a win, but you feel like you lost. That's kind of how it is with that. Jordan Love for the day was good. 261, one pass touchdown, 1 rush touchdown. So 2 total touchdowns, 1 total turnover with that really bad interception in the red zone. Green Bay just really needs to clean up the red zone issues. Had we kicked the field goal and Matt LaFleur decided to go for it for some reason, and had Jordan Love not thrown an interception in the red zone also, that's at least 6 points you're looking at. So that would have been a 7-point lead. They wouldn't have had a chance to kick a field goal. So, take the points there. I don't care what the analytics say of go for it on the 40-yard line. Don't go for it. Take the freaking points. And, with the Packers, yes, they do have a bad run of luck against the 49ers, and while I do understand that, but this is a different Green Bay team. Green Bay last year really overachieved, and they're proving again why they were a playoff team last year. This year, and this game is in Green Bay, unlike last year's playoff game against the 49ers, which was in San Francisco, which we almost won that anyway. The Niners have a lengthy injury report. Ayuk's currently, and Brock Purdy was added to the injury report today as well with a shoulder injury. So San Francisco and their right tackle is absolutely abysmal. They have some blocking issues with their protection right now on that right side of their offensive line, especially those that did not watch that Seattle game. So I think Green Bay is going to take advantage of a San Francisco team kind of limping in. Christian McCaffrey still hasn't found the end zone yet since he's been back, and it's been kind of weird for the Niners. So yeah, I think Green Bay is going to pull the win out. Green Bay can win any way they need to. I mean, Carl Brooks, the Packers beat the Bears for the 11th time in a row, all because of Carl with a K, and the best way to spell it. And it just proves why football is it's a team sport. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're the guy on the kickoff team or if you're the star quarterback, it doesn't matter. Everyone has a job to do, and every play matters, and that proves it. The Packers beat the Bears again. So I'm taking Green Bay here. We won a game where we played like crap. So I think Green Bay will improve upon. I think maybe they looked at the Chicago game as an automatic win and were a little too cocky and maybe looked a little too far ahead to the San Francisco game. They'll be ready for San Francisco. Then moving on to the Arizona Cardinals at Seattle Seahawks. And this is a division we might have to kind of reevaluate because it's very crowded. But I'm going to take Arizona here. I love that James Conner. I think he's probably the best goal line running back in the National Football League. Kyler Murray's playing outstanding ball. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been a good weapon for them. Trey McBride's one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. They got weapons in Arizona. They have a really high-powered offense. I wonder if Geno Smith will be able to keep up. I mean, he did have that really nice touchdown game-winning run against the Niners, so I wouldn't be surprised. And this game is in Seattle. But I'm taking Arizona here in a close game, but I do expect a good football game here. But give me Arizona. They're just more talented on offense, in my opinion. Then moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles at the LA Rams. And the Rams are a tale of two different teams, it seems like. Because I'm looking at these stats, guys, and they played abysmal. I mean, on top of the fact they're playing Philly, who Saquon Barkley, that should have been illegal. But I mean, the Rams almost blew it against the Patriots. I understand they did get the win, and I mean, Matt Stafford did have 4 touchdowns, but it took 4 touchdowns from your aging quarterback to be a rookie quarterback in Drake May. I'm just not impressed ultimately with what the Rams have been doing this season. But that is a crowded division, and I think Philadelphia is just really playing good ball. I think, in my opinion, the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, he's probably playing the best ball he's played in a long time. And I'm more of a total touchdowns guy. So people will say, well, he didn't even pass for a touchdown last game. Nobody ran one in. It's all about total touchdowns. Who cares how you do it? On top of the fact that they did beat a high-powered Commanders offense and held that offense under 20 points. And they have 2 outstanding weapons. Barkley's probably the offensive player of the year right now, and they had extra rest. So give me Philadelphia against a Rams team that's just get kind of old and a little bit inconsistent. There's times where they look like that playoff team, and there's times they kind of fall flat. And it'll happen all in the same game sometimes. So yeah, Philadelphia's a little more consistent as a team overall, so give me them. Then on Monday Night Football, we have Baltimore at the LA Chargers. And I almost picked the Chargers here because I picked them last Sunday night to win in that game, and it looked like they were going to blow it. They were going to start charging. Like we've said on this podcast many times before, the Chargers do what the Chargers do. They'll always find a way to blow it. But they didn't this time. They gave up that big lead, that 3-score lead against Cincinnati, but they held on for the win and were able to close it out with that touchdown run at the end. So I'm impressed with that, and I think ultimately that gets down to Jim Harbaugh coaching, and the Chargers have a team. They're not a bunch of fluff on a roster anymore. They actually have some big boys up front, and he's building them tough nose from the ground up. They don't have a lot of star-studded receivers. I mean, they chose an offensive lineman in the first round over a receiver. Like Harbaugh said, offensive linemen are weapons. Go ask Houston, who's struggling to protect their quarterback. So I'm going to take Baltimore here because they're coming off of that loss against Pittsburgh. But so long as Lamar and Baltimore don't play Kansas City or Pittsburgh for some reason, they'll beat about anybody else. And I think they're going to be pissed off that they once again failed against Pittsburgh. And they're going to come out against a Charger team who's probably a year away from truly being Super Bowl contenders. So yeah, give me Baltimore here. I think they're going to bounce back pretty good there. I just don't trust the Chargers in big spots quite yet. And I do trust Baltimore in big spots, at least in the regular season until they get to the playoffs. And that's a whole different story with Lamar. But bye weeks this week are the Atlanta Falcons, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, New Orleans Saints, and New York Jets. So, again, DoorDash competition with me and JB is heating up. There's only a 5-game lead currently by me. I have 111 and 55. JB's 106 and 60. So keep track on that. I'm going for the repeat on the food. JB's coming for revenge. So, that's all football I have. However, we are going to shift over to the world of basketball because Purdue basketball is now ranked number 6 in the country after defeating at the time 2 ranked Alabama. Alabama now dropped to number 8 in the rankings, but they were number 2 at the time, and that final score was 87-78. Purdue outscored them in both halves, even went to halftime with a lead, and then outscored them by 7 in the second half. Trey Kaufman, I was high on him last year, and I said that he was going to be the perfect replacement for Edey, and I nailed it on the head. I called it. 26.8 rebounds, 4 assists. Braden Smith, probably one of the best, absolutely is one of the best point guards in Purdue history, probably the best passing point guard in Purdue history. Double-double, 17 points, 10 boards, almost triple-double, 6 rebounds. And Fletcher Loyer, 17 points also. So those 3 players that we really needed to rely on this year are showing up big. Purdue plays Marquette here in a couple hours as of recording this video, and they're also a top 25 ranked team inside the 15. So that'll be interesting to see what Purdue can do. But Purdue currently still undefeated at the college level. 4-0 without Zach Edey. A lot of people thought Purdue would kind of fall off a little bit since Zach Edey left. But here we sit as Purdue, number 6 in the country, guys. I'm telling you, Purdue is a basketball powerhouse. We own basketball in this state. Absolutely, we have for years. We just couldn't get it done in the Final Four, which we changed that last year. We made it all the way. So I think Purdue's going to be right in the thick of things continuing forward. And yeah, we may not have Zach Edey anymore, and we may lost a lot of the hype train on that and stuff like that in the media. But don't let the mainstream media fool you. Purdue's going to be in the thick of things and is going to be contending for another Final Four championship here. And a lot of that's going to be also because hopefully C.J. Cox, who Matt Painter spoke highly of, the freshman, can continue to come off the bench and really spark us. He had 11 points against Alabama in a big spot. So I'm excited to see what he does moving forward in that Matt Painter system, because Matt Painter has made many NBA players. So I think Purdue's going to be right in the thick of things, and it's a title contender. Kaufman, Braden Smith, and a Warrior-led Purdue team is no joke. And also, we're going to talk about some Miami Heat, and we're going to kind of check in with the Miami Heat. The 6-7 currently. They got a win against the 2-11 Philadelphia 76ers. Wow, they're bad. 106-89 in a game where Jimmy Butler did return from injury and was able to pull a double-double at 30 and 10. Bam had a good rebounding game. 13 rebounds, only 5 points though. I'll get into him here in a little bit. Tyler Hero continuing his outstanding season with 18 points. And Drew Smith, 10 points. That was very good to see also. And Hayward Highsmith got the start with 9 points also. And Miami currently, they're 6-7 losing record. But let's currently look out east. Currently, as the season stands right now, Miami, at this time of this recording at 7:08 p.m., is 6-7 and currently the 6th seed. I know it's really early in the season to get into all that, but every game matters, and Miami is currently about where I thought they would be, fighting for that number 6 seed that way they don't have to play in the play-in /7 seed, kind of how we have been in the last couple of years. So, the East, it's kind of wonky. The 3 seed is the 9-6 Magic without Paolo Banchero because he's injured. And then the 5 seed is the Hawks at 7-8. So, it's kind of a wonky Eastern Conference right now. Thank goodness we're not out West because of the top 11 teams in the West are at least 500 or better. So the East is about what I thought it was going to be, top heavy, and then it kind of fades out at the end. So Miami competing in that Eastern Conference for that playoff spot. That's what we want to see. Get in the playoffs, make a run at that championship again with this core. And hopefully we can get it done. I mean, ultimately Miami is running it back this season. I mean, our core is dang near the exact same. Because looking at the current Miami Heat stats, we currently have 5 players averaging over 10 points, and it's Duncan Robinson, Terry Rozier, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero. So it's the same core as last year. Jacquez and Jokic are the next two at 8.9 and 8.3. So Miami running it back with a couple other players, Khalil Ware, the rookie who hasn't really played much, and Alex Burks, who also hasn't particularly played much either. We're kind of additions, but same core for Miami that made the championship twice since 2020 in the NBA Finals, and I think we can make a run at it if we can stay healthy. That's the key. Tyler Hero is playing outstanding ball. Could be a sleeper for an all-star reserve at this point, in my opinion. He's averaging a career-high 24.2 points a game. He's averaging a career-high by 4 points, guys. That's a significant improvement. His shooting percentage is up 4 points. His shooting percentage at 3 is up 6 points. He's averaging a career-high in assists. He's playing good ball. Tyler Hero has led this team this season and has been the best player consistently on Miami. And I say that because now I must mention Bam. And while Bam's not having a horrible season, he's averaging 16.3 points, 9.5 rebounds. The last year he averaged a double-double. This year he's shooting 42.6%. I mean, there's been games where he's been on fire at 30 points, double-doubles. And then there's games like last night where he doesn't even get 10 points. Again, still double-digit boards, but I expect more from Bam. I've said many times that Bam has to be our best player all season long and in the playoffs if we're going to be a title contender. Jimmy's getting up there in age. I mean, Tyler Hero could be finally stepping up, like I thought he could, and become that all-star player. We'll see. But I expect a little more from Bam Adebayo, in my opinion. He's an Olympic gold champion, medalist, and he's been in the finals twice. I expect more. He's an NBA All-Star. And then Jimmy Butler, good to see him back from his, I think it was a 4-game absence. He's averaging 17.7 points currently. I mean, his shooting percentage is slightly up also. 3-point percentage is only 21.4. It's horrific. But Jimmy getting back on pace last night with a double-double and 30. And we beat a Philadelphia team, so... Again, Miami's still in the thick of things at 6th seed, and they haven't even played near as good as they can. I mean, really, Jimmy's underperforming, Bam's underperforming. Our 2 best players are underperforming, and we're still a playoff-spotted team currently. So that's a good sign that you can still win some games and compete in the standings when you're not playing your best ball. So that's always what you want to see. So I expect Miami to be right in that playoff thick of things also. And so long as you get in, you got a chance. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I got for today's Unbiased Hard Take, guys. Again, go check out JB's short take on this week's NFL predictions, pick 'em, whatever you want to call it. Again, that's all I got. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, check out the Sports Facts of the Day. We live streamed a Monday night game at Miami Dolphins, LA Rams. Plan on doing a lot more stuff like that. We got a lot of good things for this podcast moving forward and big plans heading forward. So that's all I got. Until next week, guys. Boy, we're up. Let's go Heat. And go Pack, go baby. Go check out JB's short take.